I think anytime you accomplish something that's never been done, I mean, you can't ever beat being the first. So taking the job was one of the highlights. Is that it's never been done. A lot of pressure, obviously, to try to get it done. I think President Hartzell was saying, text me, he said, "I can't believe we've never won one. You know, as good as we are, as many accomplishments we have. Either it's really hard to win one, or we haven't been that good, which I know is not true. So it must be really hard to win it." So I text him back. I was like, and I think I fainted with about the last leg of the 4x4. I think I blacked out. I only remember like half of it because there was a moment we thought, ah, here they come. We're gonna lose again, and then and things got better. But I don't remember like part of the race. It's like, golly, here we go. You know, so you start preparing yourself for the defeat. It's like, you know, we've never won. You know, Bubba Thornton was telling me he had the best team, and Trey got hurt. The miler got DQ'd. So it was almost like disaster. So you feel like snake bitten. So at one point I was like, am I preparing myself for it? And I said, then I went to John Jones, run 4x4, and he told me, "Hey man, get out of here. We got this." I was like, oh well. In that case, I'm going to sit in the bleachers. So we walked away, and he took care of business. It was a pretty cool moment.
He told you we got this
He
before
told
the
me,
relay.
he said, "Flo, we got this." You know, they were
Where
there.
did you go?
I just went, sat right under the bleachers and sat in the corner and sucked my thumb and just left him alone. I was not going to interfere with this kind of confidence.
Yeah.
And then John Moss, our third leg, I told him, I don't care if you blow both hamstring. Do not let him pass you until lap number 2, because we have a pretty good ankle leg. And all we have to do is be close. And John is running, and his face is blush red, and I'm like, he's about to blow a gasket. But he hung on, kept the guy off, and then that made the big difference, you know, because we ended up pulling away from A&T a little bit, and the gap was just too much for Randall Ross to overcome.
So then, and you just blacked out, obviously. What did you do? Just go crazy? Run on the
Yeah, there was a lot of yelling and screaming. There's a little video of Trip. I, I was thinking he's going to hurt his Achilles. He was just jumping, and then he took off running. I thought he was going to go hug Zeb, but he just took him out and then took another guy out. And you know, but for Trip, I remember when I got here, that's one thing I told him that I promised him that we're going to win a national championship, and he was like, okay, all right, whatever. You know, but being able to pull it off, especially for you know that guy means so much to our program. He's been steady Eddie. So watching him fulfill that dream and being able to give him that as a parting gift, that was an awesome moment for me. I mean, I had more fun watching the guys just be truly happy. They haven't been really happy with COVID and all these restrictions. They haven't been like completely nuts happy. So it was just funny just watching them just go absolutely bananas. You know, try to keep them from jumping on the track to get DQ'd. But yeah, it was good watching them just kind of lose it and then be really happy.
What was Tripp's reaction?
I don't even know if Trip is coming down to the ground yet. I mean, you got to go. There's a little video that was posted on him. He had probably a couple of explicit words that he said, and he was running back and forth, and the team was trying to hug him, and he was just bulldozing. So he was just going back and forth. He was just really happy to finally have done it.
What does this mean to you? How do you put it in words?
Man, I don't think you can put it in words. You know, it's almost like you come to one of the most prestigious schools out there, and then you figure out there's a little loophole that's something they've never done. You sort of make that your target because that separates you from, you know, Chris Beard and Vic winning conferences. Like, you just amongst a bunch of giants, you know. But the only good thing is they can never say they were the first to do it. That's why I told Vic, because he sent me, we were talking back and forth after we won, and I called him back the next day. I said, "You couldn't let me have the moment, man. You just had to go do something bigger for me, you know." But just knowing that we were the first team to do it, like, you can never beat the first, you know. Like, Vic's probably win a ton, and Chris is going to win a ton, but they didn't win the first, you know.
Well, you know you got to call your shot now with CDC from evaluation. You did first, you paid. So.
You know, there was something about the carte blanche that he said, but I think he's reneging on the carte blanche. Yeah. If you know, boy, you guys know CDC, the rules change often. First it was like, you do this, done. Now it's like, well, that's not quite what I said. Yeah. But hopefully we can kind of move some stuff forward and try to get, you know, everybody secured, because I think, you know, like the staff, I think everybody's done a great job. So I think we're on the right track.
Did you get a $1 million bonus for winning the title?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think I don't think there's any million dollar bonus in there. Maybe a ham sandwich and a cup of coffee.
You better negotiate.
Did this come sooner, later, or by the time you thought it was gonna happen when you first took the job, or did it take a little bit longer, or?
I think we could have done it right when COVID hit, because we had Stephen, we had O'Brien, and we had a really good team heading to that championship on the women's side too. And the women were firing on all cylinders, and the men, you know, Stephen was doing this thing, and O'Brien had just finished winning the long and triple jump at the conference. Micaiah Harris was #1 in the country. I mean, we had a really good team. John Burt was #3 in the country. You know, I mean, that was actually the worst day probably of my life, is watching John Burt just lose it. Because so we went to NC's in New Mexico. They didn't cancel the meet until after we were warming up. So we'd finished warming up for the day after. So we were warming up, everything is going great, and all of a sudden we hear grumbling. And then over the speaker they announced that the meet is canceled, which was terrible, poor taste. It's like, so the kids are all sweaty, that we were about to leave to go get some dinner, and they announced, and John just fell in his chair. It was almost like he was just dead. And all of a sudden he got up, he threw the chair maybe 60 yards. I've never seen, he just yelled something awful and threw the chair across the track into the bleachers. You know, oh yeah. Yeah, but don't forget, this was his last chance, and he had a legitimate chance to win it. I mean, he threw the chair so far, and I thought, wow, and I went and grabbed him and finally got him out of there. But we had a really good team that year that I thought that team had a chance to do it.
Where was it?
New Mexico, Albuquerque. That was the 20. That's right when they canceled the NCAAs.
Where's
Yeah.
John now?
He's in town. I just saw him. He comes to practice here and there. Yeah, he has some type of business in town, but he was at practice a week before we left. Pardon me? No, no, no. He didn't have an outdoor season. This was his last season period. All he had is indoor, and he had worked his tail off to be in that position. And actually the practices right before like they cancel, he looked at me and says, "I'm winning this." Beep. And then half an hour later, they canceled the meet. I think, no, I think the women may be a little envious now. You know, it's almost like the guys have always been sort of the bridesmaid, and watching them sort of be there, I think that's probably the best thing that happened to the women. I mean, there's a different swagger now. The girls are like, okay, it's on. All right. So, but I don't think the guys are ready to relinquish that. You know, the good thing with the guys is once we won conference a couple of years ago, something happened to the dynamic of the team. It's almost like we're never losing again. Like the way they celebrated it wasn't a celebration. It was almost like euphoria. It's like, wait a minute, this is how it feels. And after that, we just really haven't lost. Like the guys have just been on a different wavelength and just like, we're not losing. And it was the same attitude in 4x4. We're not losing. And they just refuse to lose, which is really what you need. But if you lose so many times, you become really good at winning. That's what they asked me. It's like, repeat, I don't think it's as hard as the first time. It's really freaking hard. You know, because the meet is going on, and I'm preparing myself for the worst, because that's like, God, you know, we've tried so many times and failed. Maybe this is another time. But once you won, you know how to do it. You know, there's a calmness that you get about yourself that I've been there before. So, and I think the guys had been there before, because we won the first conference championship on the 4x4. That was the first time the guys won at Texas Tech. They had come down to the 4x4, us against Tech. We had to beat Tech to win, and they did it. So they're used to sort of being in that. They're terrible for my blood pressure, but great for entertainment.
Were the women disappointed?
Yeah, I don't think they were disappointed until they realized that they let one go. And that didn't come right away, you know. So after the meet was over, they were celebrating the second place, and then it's like, wait a minute, we just lost by like 12 points. You know, like Tyra Giddens didn't hit the board one jump, none of her jumps. If she hits the board one time, she wins the long jump, that's +10. Now you're only down 2. You know, then you're saying Julian Alfred breaks a great record, comes down the next day, is really freaked out about the pressure, and both of them. If they run the same race, we'll beat both about 12, 15 points. You know, that's just not even saying we had to do anything outside of what we haven't done before. So it was just kind of, I think they realized that, golly, we messed up. I don't think they really thought they had a chance to win it until we came to the end, and they were like we're light years ahead of the third place. So, and we're that close to Florida. So I think it's good for them to realize that we're a much better team than we are. Plus, we're adding, a lot more events. Brooke Jaworski's run the 4 hurdles. Like, people were doing off events, not their marquee event, and javelin throwers and discus throwers. So, be interesting outdoors.
Who was the biggest surprise that kind of came first this year?
Yassim Abdallah. It's probably our anchor leg for the DMR, but I probably shouldn't say that because he's so cocky. We have a plane that we put. Once you punch your ticket to the NCAA, we put your picture on there, and we send him to a meet. He makes the standard. He ran at 5:15. And how I remember that, it's crazy. He ran at 5:15. The race roughly took 7 minutes and 51 seconds. At 8.5 minutes after the race, I get a text with, "Flo, put me in that beep 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 plane." Like, dude, did you even cool down? It's like, no. That was first thing on his mind is put my damn picture on the plane, man. That no problem. But he's this walk-on kid. He was 6:59 miler. He was not even average. He was awful. He's a decent cross-country runner, but really terrible. And he's actually really mature and growing, and confidence is shot through the roof. So he was probably the one that he felt comfortable. We told him, you got to anchor. We can put Creighton. Said, no, I want to anchor. If it's going to go down, let me have it. So, good kid.
So the outdoors coming up, the too early to ask about those?
Outdoors,
Any matches?
I think so. I mean, unfortunately, I think we'll be better. I think we'll be better prepared, and I think the kids will be calmer, having done it, and the women knowing that it wouldn't have been that hard to win. It's like, so I think we'll be better outdoors. It's just going to have to be a decision we make right away. It's like you can't win a championship on a weekend. You got to make plans to do it now, and it evolves and evolves and grows and grows and grows. Yeah, I think our outdoor team is significantly better than our indoor team, significantly,
For men and women?
for both sides, yes. Yeah.
It starts next week with the relays.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're AD then.
Mhm. Yeah, and we can go down to Old College Station and spend half a day with the Aggies.
Anybody else you want to brag on?
Yeah, I mean, I think, some you start pulling out too many names and you take the fun away from the whole aspect of, you sell team, and you say, these guys did it for us. So I'd rather not. I just say the whole team came together, every point counted, and they gelled, they bonded, and they won a championship.
Freshman triple jumper, pretty good.
She's pretty good. She had a chance to jump really far, just could not, I think the nerves got the best of her. Both of them were really nervous, and I haven't seen them like that ever. I mean, Dasha went to World Juniors and got a medal, but this meet, I think, really got them nervous, because the competition is the best they've ever been against. I don't think they perform up to their level. They're both much better than that. So I'm hoping now they'll calm down a little bit and start doing their thing.
It's kind of a shame you gotta go right to the outdoors. You can enjoy this feeling a little longer.
I'm not the enjoying kind of guy, man. I was in the office at 7:30 on Sunday morning trying to figure out what do we need to fix to get to the next one. You wallow too much, you get comfortable. I'm not comfortable. So to me, it's just get back to work. The kids were in the infield, and I was trying to get them to go home. They wouldn't. It's like, guys, it's over. We got to get out of here. We got to get prepared for the outdoors. So my focus is get back to the next one. This one is over. Enjoy it. I gave them a couple of days off because I felt typically I don't, but this time I decided that I'll give everybody a couple of days off just to sort of do whatever at 19th.
Everybody is, but nobody does.
No. The good thing about giving that day off, I know exactly that most of them, if not all of them, are probably still in bed sleeping with some type of throbbing headache. So I'm pretty safe. I don't have to look down for anybody. They were all together. I know that, and everybody's in good spirits.